And we're also drawing, what, 3 cards here? Oh my god. You gotta love it, you guys. And that triggers our Faerie Vandals up. So we got a full mitt, just like that. And let's... Hey, welcome back. Thanks for taking the time to watch Hello Good Game. Today, we have something very special for you guys. It is free-to-play Azorius tempo, very reminiscent of the old mono blue tempo, which is really cool. We used to rely on Curious Obsessions, and now we're relying on Staggering Insight. But before we talk about the deck, I want to remind you guys to join our monthly Brawl tournament. This is the last weekend of every month, which is really, really cool. We have almost up to $100 in prize pool so far, and it just keeps continuing to grow. So it's a pretty small community. Jump in there. You can sign up with the link in the description below. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel for your chance to win up to 500,000 gems. With all of that advertising out and about, let's take a look at the deck. We have 4 Spectral Sailors. This is our only 1-drop, and it's really nice to get this in your opening hand. It has Flash and Flying, which is really cool. We rely on Flash a lot in this build. It is also a really good draw engine. We can pay 4 to draw a card. As far as our 2-drops go, we have Brineborn Cutthroat. This is a 2/1 with Flash, and whenever you cast a spell during your opponent's turn, you're going to put a 1/1 counter on him. Faerie Vandal, this is also a 1/2. Flash Flying, so it's the exact opposite. This is the defensive version, but it also has Flying, which is really cool. And whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a 1/1 counter on Faerie Vandal. So that's really cool because we are relying on outdrawing our opponents here. Omen of the Sea, Flash, when it enters the battlefield, scry 2, then draw a card. You can also pay 3 to sacrifice it to scry 2. We have 4 Quenches, counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. We have 3 Starlit Mantles. This has Flash. It's an enchantment aura. Enchant a creature you control. When it enters the battlefield, enchanted creature gains hexproof until end of turn. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1. So again, normally we typically don't run auras, but this particular aura gives us hexproof and protects our other creature who will be equipped with Staggering Insight, our more important aura, which again, typically we don't run because they hold negative value, but Staggering Insight has so much value output potential within it that it's worth making an aura deck and then protecting this particular aura. So, enchant creature, enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has lifelink. And whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So again, that is our main draw engine. Moving on to our 3-drops, we have 2 Mystical Disputes. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3, and then it's going to cost 2 less to cast if it targets another blue spell. Whirlwind Denial, for each spell and ability your opponent controls, counter it unless its controller pays 4. This is really cool if he starts to stack things like a crazy person. For instance, this can combo out or counter out a Cavalcade stack, for instance. We also have Sinister Sabotage, counter target spell, Surveil 1, Law Mage's Binding ×4, Flash, enchant creature, enchanted creature can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. We have 4 Tranquil Coves. This is just our tapped life gain land, and then 12 islands, 8 plains. So as far as strategy goes here, your draw hand should really include a Spectral Sailor and a Staggering Insight. It's okay if there's no Sailor there. You could use a Brineborn Cutthroat or a Faerie Vandal instead, but it is semi-important to have a creature in your draw hand and your Staggering Insight. The counters will come anyways because there's so many of them. So much like the original mono blue tempo, it's not the worst thing to mulligan your hand down just until you find those key components, because you have such a powerful draw engine here. You're gonna fill that hand back up again. And it's more important to hit the drops on tempo because this is a tempo deck, right? This is really focused around our 2-drops, and we have a little bit as 1 and a few more 3-drops. But again, this is a very fast deck and it stacks up very quickly, right? For instance, our Faerie Vandal, whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a 1/1 counter on Faerie Vandal. So he will already have a +1/+1 on it, lifelink, which it creates that survivability that we're talking about being really important, right, against an aggro or a red deck. And then it has the draw card. So it's going to get the +1/+1 from the enchantment, and then every time it attacks, it draws a card which triggers another token on it, which is really great. We also have Brineborn Cutthroat. Whenever we're countering our opponent on his turn, we're going to get a counter there. So we're able to stack up quite big. And then our Spectral Sailor is our draw engine, just if we need it. Also, we can play our Staggering Insight on our Spectral Sailor just for that tempo turn 2 play, right? So there's not much to it, you guys. Get those baby creatures out, get Staggering Insight on it and protect it by all means, and just keep drawing those counters, keep drawing those counters. We want to prioritize our counters towards planeswalkers, instances, and sorceries. If it's a creature that we need to deal with, we can use our binding to shut it down. For instance, if a Krasis enters the field, it's going to get the life and the draw anyways, so you may as well not counter it. Let him have it, he gets it anyways, and then just shut it down with Law Mage's binding. So that's all for the deck. There's not really too much to explain here. Obviously, with hold, you don't play on your turn normally, you play on your opponent's turn, and then if you don't have to counter, you want to use your Omen of the Sea, for instance, to draw. You always want to be spending that mana somehow, ideally, or one of your flash creatures. So that's it, you guys. I hope this deck tech proved semi-helpful, and I hope you guys have good luck with this. This is one of 4 free-to-play Mythic decks that we've showcased this month, so we're banging out this free-to-play beginner content for you guys. It's a little bit harder to do because you have to compete with such an aggressive meta, but it just makes you become a better player at the end of the day, so that's really cool. Again, quick reminders before we get into today's footage. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel for your chance to win up to 500,000 gems. We're also live every single morning on Twitch, 6 a.m. PST. So come join the conversation and talk to us live. We'll see you all there tomorrow. Peace. Alright, you guys, this is going to be a little slower than the mono blue tempo we all remember with Curious Obsessions, but it still has the juice. It is really reliant on the creatures though, and it's hard to get your Staggering Insight in hand with a creature. Also, much like the mono blue deck was hard to get Curious Obsession into play right away. So let's see how we do here. We're gonna try a Mythic match today, and if we can't get that going, or maybe we'll play 2, if we can't get those going, we'll drop into the regular play queue just to demonstrate the deck. There's nothing we really need to use Mystical Dispute on, so we're just gonna pass, play our slow land. He does seem to have blue, but he's going in slow as well. He is playing a rare land for the Scry. We can pass. Quench is available. We also have Mystical Dispute and Sinister Sabotage. We want to allow creatures to hit the field. We are prioritizing our counters towards planeswalkers and spells that just wreck us. Alright, still looking for a creature card. That could be our downfall here. Uro should always be countered. I'm going to go ahead and take the Surveil here just because I really want that creature card. So I'm going to try to increase the chances that I get it. Tossing our binding. And we land on a Quench, is what it is. He's still going nice and slow. This is going to be Temur Reclamation. The big ouchie. We're talking explosions for 20. We're straight chilling. We have plenty of land. No creatures, you guys. That's the problem here. Hydroid Krasis for 3. He's still going to get the draw. So we will resolve it. He can have it. And then we can bind it. Just because he was going to get the draw anyways. So we may as well let it hit the field. We have a secondary insight if we can get that creature. So again, we could be doing much better here if only a few of our key components were working together. And it would appear We are in for tough days ahead. I mean, there's only so many land in the deck, right? One less every turn. I believe our opponent's just skipping turns as well. Incredible. He could start discarding cards to get Uro in play again, potentially. If he has a full hand, right? Over 7. He's really thinking about it. He knows I have mad counters. Omen of the Sea does help us. He can play around our quenches and our mystical disputes just by collecting lands. It's a bummer. We need some hard counters. We should have used our quench earlier and left our Sinister Sabotage and then kept our binding. It probably would have been worthwhile. Here's our Omen of the Sea. The Scry 2 will really help you guys. Okay, Cutthroat is good. I like that. Another quench has never hurt anyone else either. Let's go ahead and draw. We should have put our insight on it. What was I thinking? For some reason I thought it had flash. We'll do it next turn. Just make sure it survives here. He knows we're ready to counter. Growth Spiral can hit, that's fine. Just so much land, you guys. This is disgusting. We do have 7 land. We're talking 3 quenches we could pull off. I mean, obviously I don't want to, but it could be what's necessary. Niv Mizzet Reborn. Only leaving 1 mana up? That's about the easiest decision we've ever made. Good game, you guys. So we won just by holding out on counters. It's that easy. Alright, so even without our Staggering Insight, we were still able to put in work last round. Normally it is something I want to play. We go first. We do have Omen of the Sea to help us draw that Plains, and we have our Spectral Sailor. So even though we don't have a Plains, I'm really going to lean into this hand, and hopefully we get one. Our opponent recognizes us, gives us a hello, good game. That's absolutely wonderful. And now we do have our Staggering Insight in play. I don't think he's going to do anything turn 2. So this is as good as it gets, you guys. This is pure Azorius tempo. We drew another Staggering Insight. That's cool. We're going to start holding up counters though. So all we need to do is survive this turn. And we should be A-okay. It is suiting that he gave us the hello, good game right off the bat like that. And then we execute perfectly. Hopefully he doesn't rope us. Hopefully he's just trying to assess the situation and decide what to do from there. Ouch. No, he's here. He's thinking about it. He'll do something. There's Paradise Druid. He just wants to ramp, right? He can kill this thing. So, let's get that attack in. Drawing that card, a 3rd Staggering Insight. This is going to get gross, you guys. We do always want to keep a counter open, though. If he doesn't play anything, we play our Faerie Vandal, which can use a Staggering Insight as well. Of course, the Staggering Insight on our Sailor will trigger our Faerie Vandal, just because we need to draw a card in general. It doesn't need to be from that source. And Cloudkin Seer, which is a flyer, it blocks us. It's not really a high priority though. But let's tap it anyways. It is a draw, so it blocks us and it's a draw, so that's pretty good. We're gonna attack here. Hopefully we draw a fast land. There it is. We can play that. I'm gonna hold up our Faerie Vandal and some flash here and then play our Staggering Insight at the start of our next turn. Okay, Searcher's Route, we do not mind. He can play that. That's gonna open up, like I said, our Faerie Vandal. And our Omen of the Sea, which is great. Scry 2, draw a card. We're gonna put that Sabotage on top. We only have 1 mana to spend because we need to hold that Sinister Sabotage open. So let's just go ahead and swing in, drawing that card, powering up our Faerie Vandal. And we have a Mystical Dispute, which we could work into play potentially. But I don't want to rely on it. Another Cloudkin Seer, which I guess we could zap with our Dispute. It would make him tap the rest of his things, which is okay. That results in him not playing anything for this turn. And then we still have a counter for next turn and a chance to draw. So resolving here, he does get the draw, which is fine. We probably should have hard countered that. So you'll see, even though I'm making mistakes in each of these games, we're still doing quite well. So let's play our Vandal. We get the draw, more lands. And now we probably just want to buff up our Sailor again. And why not buff up our lonely little Vandal down here, so he'll survive as well. So everybody survives. And now we're holding our Starlit Mantle, which will give us hexproof from anything that he tries to do. And we're also drawing, what, 3 cards here? Oh my god. You gotta love it, you guys. And that triggers our Faerie Vandals up. So we got a full mitt, just like that. And let's greet him again with another hello, good game. Agent of Treachery is totally fine. He thinks this is going to do something great. We have the Starlit Mantle, just like we talked about, though, for this exact equation. There we go. That's just about going to seal the deal here, you guys. He drained all his mana on that. And we have 3 huge flyers in the air, and we can shut down his blocker with our Law Mage's Binding. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That's 2 in a row. All right, you guys, that was our free-to-play Azorius Tempo. This deck worked out a lot better than I thought it would. It took a little bit of fine-tuning to get it here, but once we did, this is really reminiscent of that old mono blue tempo that we used to play, and it's a lot of fun, especially if you can connect those pieces together. I think if this wasn't a budget build, we could potentially make this into a tier 3, tier 2 deck with general ease. So thanks for watching, you guys. I really appreciate it. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you all tomorrow on Twitch, 6 a.m. PST. Take care.